Welcome to the Super GT300 online championship. This is Carsten talking. We are racing this week at Apricot Hill. We start at night and we go on through the whole day. Let's take a look at the race. In pole, again, Flanked. He never misses a pole when he's full horsepower. This is the start, Flanked, followed by Tobias, then Eboe that had an impressive first qualifying. Then there was our Logic Line and Da Vinci. At first turn, no changes in positions. The pack is quite close, the usual good start from all-wheel drive cars. Several drivers had the power penalties this week. Amongst them there was Logic Line, Eboe, Skeng. Here we are seeing Logic Line going wide. Da Vinci had the power penalty, same as Carsten. Actually half of the grid had power penalties. That made for some really interesting race. And here we have the first three, Flanked, Tobias and Eboe. Tobias and Eboe would battle basically the whole race. Really impressive to watch. Here we are with Skeng following Da Vinci. He had quite a good start. The Garaya proved to be a really fast car in the right hands, and Da Vinci's one seems to be such a kind of hands. Light foot, the car is fast, great control is needed. He has all. And here is turn 1, the best place for overtaking here. A good place, but quite a dangerous one too. If the car on the inside goes a little wide, a small tap can send out another driver, and that happened to Filipino just a few corners earlier. One of the most interesting things of this race was the vast amount of different strategies the drivers had. Some went for 3 stops, others went for 2. This caused quite a big overlapping in strategies that made the race quite interesting and difficult to predict until the end. We are here watching Snake followed by Carsten. Filipino that was recovering from his crash with Gavin, and in last position Gavin. Snake had quite a stable race, but he tended to overdrive the car and caused his tires to be quite worn out along the race. Here you either try to be really fast or try to be really soft on tires. There's no choice about these two things. And here we have Flanked, Tob and Eboe. Flanked taking quite a wide line, then getting back in. Flanked was easily the fastest, on the fastest car here, so no much race for the others. But he made a mistake here that costed him quite a sweat to get back on the first position, but his lap times were really of another world, so nothing to do for the others. Here a small tap with Pirates. Here we have Gavin fighting with Carsten. Behind them there's Filipino. Filipino had the best start with that crash, but he steadily improved his positions all along the race and ended in a beautiful 4th place. Actually, Karsten and Filipino have found out that they are teammates, so surprising after last week's shunt. Here we have Filipino easily overtaking Karsten on turn 1. No resistance from Karsten. He was 20 horsepower down from Filipino, so no use fighting. Here we see that it's about to sunrise. Soon the track will warm up, times will start to fly, and tires will start to degrade faster. This is lap 10, Da Vinci and Skeng fighting. Da Vinci was really fast with his Garaya, but it's a car that if overdriven can kill you, like right now. And here he has to leave his position, and he quite smartly, in my opinion, chooses to go and pit early and then have 2 faster stints. That will work quite well actually. So right now Tobias is leading, followed by Aiboy, and the sun is starting to shine. And here on lap 15, the different strategy starts to overlap with faster cars that pitted early behind those trying to take one less stop, and this brought in on track quite a lot of traffic, as you can see, and somehow shuffled the position on track. Here give and take would mean quite a few seconds. Gavin is leading here right now with this big group of cars, followed by Filipino. They're on board now with Karsten. That is being attacked by Aiboy, not much to do for him. He just has to give his draft and let him through. Karsten tried to make up a strategy that would allow him not to finish in last position, and he somehow succeeded it. He gave himself quite a strict timetable for each lap, and he did manage to end in front of Gavin and Snake. That was his target, so a disappointing race, but on target to his expectation. And here quite an exciting fight, and we are getting on board with Skeng, approaching the hairpin with 4 cars. Filipino on the inside, then Gavin, then Tobias, cars touching, crossing lines. Quite an exciting battle. Filipino manages to get ahead of Gavin, and here was a beautiful pass from Skeng on the outside of the chicane. That was impressive, beautiful. And here Filipino loses his car for a moment, and Skeng gets another position. Wow, this was great. And here we have the usual battle, Hebo and Tobias. I have to see that most of the race will be about those two. Here Boy taking draft and trying to get on the inside, side by side, maybe a small touch. Everything went smoothly. Tobias won't surrender and tries to stick to him, taking his draft again. It is entertaining. On lap 19, on board with Tobias, still fighting for his position with Aiboy. sun is quite high already. On lap 25, Filipino manages to catch Logic and somehow complete a big part of his recovery from last position. Logic had not a very good run with his tires and tried to stay on track for very long, so in most situations he didn't have much chances to defend. Also he had minus 10 horsepower, so it's easily to understand how this overtaking attempt will go. Filipino takes the inside easily, takes quite a perfect line, giving no chances for Logic with his worn out tires. On lap 29, Flanketop and Eboe again together. Eboe was leading right now. Flanket had that somehow extra swiftness, and Tobias chooses to pit before the other two cars. And here we have Snake and Da Vinci that had some fun together for some laps. Again, overlapping strategies. Da Vinci pitted really early, then had to make two faster stints, running on empty fuel, empty tanks. And here we have on lap 32 Karsten, still keeping up to his strategies of long stints, trying to keep tires working for long, manages to overtake Snake. Snake here had really worn out tires, so Karsten, even with minus 20 horsepower, manages to out accelerate him out of the corner, take all of the draft, and then barely taking the inside and passing him. All clean, looks easy, it wasn't. Yona, after the pit stop mayhem that we are watching every few laps, was behind Logic. Yona had minus 20 horsepower, Logic minus 10, but this is yet another track that really favors RX-7s, so it's hard to defend from a lighter, faster car and such a good driver as Yona, but Logic never surrenders, so it's a beauty to watch such fights. Clean, interesting. Again, Tobias and Eboe, our two race stars. Eboe trying to pass Tob on the outside, lines crossing, tapping each other, not giving much space to each other actually. Everything correct. Tobias taking some defensive lines that are slower, there's no way around it. If you try to take the defensive line, you are slower than the others. So it's just a matter of time before a small mistake allows the other driver through. But here we can see the great work Tobias was now doing. A great exit from Eboe from that chicane, really better than Tobias. Taking draft, Tobias moved to the inside of the track just by the pit lane, So Ebo has no choice but try and go to the outside. Nothing to do. Still really close to each other. Ebo is lower on power, but Tobias' draft is a big help for him to stick. Again, lap 47 and nothing changed. Tobias and Ebo, touching each other. From outside, Tobias goes to inside and outside again, crossing racing lines. When racing lines are crossing like this, there's no way to avoid a little scraping here and there. It seems that Tobias has some tires problems more than Ebo. Quite faster here in this corner. Drafting, and Tobias takes himself out of the track and stops. And that is the end of his race. Actually, it is not Ebo touching him wide or anything. He just choose to pull the plug and stop. I really, honestly, I haven't seen anything worth such a retirement from second position, really. It was a beautiful race and a beautiful fight, but maybe that is not for Tobias to be fighting for something like 30-40 lap each lap. Maybe it is a bit too long and tiring for him. I don't know, maybe he'll tell us. Now we have Filipino overtaking Logic and consolidating his position, lap 53. Logic was in his last long stint. On lap 61, Logic, again on really worn out tires, has no choices and no way to defend from Jon again, and from Da Vinci that was behind them. Jon and Da Vinci would go on to have a really photo finish end to the race. Here we are watching Logic Line generously trying to fight for his position with all he's got, but his tires are so worn out that his acceleration is so slow that even cars with -20 horsepower are faster than him and can easily take shorter and faster lines. See, no way, he did his best. Jon is through and Da Vinci is about to catch him. Here we are on board with Logic, watching backwards, and quite a different pace. Actually, Logic was a bit lucky because he would just make a mistake on worn out tires, and if that we are watching it, if he was running on rims really and managed just barely to finish in front of Karsten. After such a good race, it would have taken little to get better, get the position. And so this is the end. It is Karst. There's Flanked, Boed, Skeng, Da Vinci, Jona, and so on. It was a beautiful race. It was entertaining to watch and comment. I hope to see you all next week. This is all from Karsten. Bye.